The security objective is a fundamental concept in information security, shaping how organizations protect their most valuable information assets. The CIA Triad, which stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability, is the primary model used to define and achieve this objective. It serves as the guiding framework for all security strategies, decisions, and implementations within modern organizations. A thorough understanding of the CIA Triad is essential for anyone involved in designing, evaluating, or maintaining a strong security posture, whether preparing for a leadership role in security or working as an experienced information technology professional. Organizations of all sizes and across every industry face the ongoing challenge of safeguarding their information assets. These assets include customer data, financial records, intellectual property, and mission-critical systems. Threats to these assets are diverse and constantly evolving, ranging from sophisticated cyber attacks orchestrated by external adversaries to inadvertent mistakes made by well-intentioned employees. At the core of information security is the need to protect these assets from unauthorized access, disclosure, modification, or destruction. The CIA Triad provides a clear and structured framework for aligning security measures with organizational goals and for addressing these risks in a systematic and comprehensive way. The CIA Triad consists of three interdependent principles: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Together, these principles define the objective of information security and provide a lens through which all risks, controls, and countermeasures are evaluated. The CIA Triad is universally recognized across all cybersecurity disciplines and is a foundational element in every major security certification and best practice framework. Confidentiality is the first principle of the Triad. It focuses on ensuring that sensitive information is accessible only to those who are authorized to view or use it. Confidentiality addresses the persistent risk of data breaches, privacy violations, and unauthorized disclosures. Organizations achieve confidentiality through a combination of controls, such as encryption, access control mechanisms, authentication procedures, and the principle of least privilege. For example, when a hospital stores patient health records, it must restrict access to only those doctors, nurses, and staff members who require the information to perform their duties. Encryption ensures that even if the data falls into the wrong hands, it remains unintelligible without the correct cryptographic key. Strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, and regular access reviews further reinforce confidentiality, making it significantly more difficult for attackers or insiders to gain unauthorized access. Integrity, the second principle, refers to the accuracy, consistency, and trustworthiness of data and systems. It ensures that information remains unaltered except by those with the appropriate permissions, and that any unauthorized or accidental changes are detected and addressed promptly. Integrity is critical in environments where decisions or transactions depend on reliable data. In the financial services sector, for example, even a minor alteration to transaction records can have significant legal and economic consequences. To protect integrity, organizations employ techniques such as hashing, digital signatures, secure audit trails, and access control lists. Hashing allows for the detection of unauthorized changes by creating a fixed digital fingerprint of data, while digital signatures verify both the origin and the contents of a message or document. Secure audit logs provide a chronological record of all actions taken on a system, which is essential for identifying and investigating suspicious activities. By ensuring data integrity, organizations build trust with their customers and partners, reduce the risk of fraud, and support regulatory compliance. Availability, the third principle, ensures that information and resources are accessible to authorized users whenever they are needed. Availability addresses the risk of service disruptions, system outages, and denial of service attacks that can cripple an organization's ability to operate. In healthcare, for example, the timely availability of patient data can be a matter of life and death. Similarly, an e-commerce platform must guarantee that its online services are reliably accessible to customers at all times. To maintain high levels of availability, organizations implement redundancy through backup systems, failover clusters, and load balancing solutions. Disaster recovery plans are developed to restore operations swiftly after major incidents such as natural disasters or cyber attacks. Organizations also invest in defenses against distributed denial of service attacks, which are designed to overwhelm systems and make them unavailable to legitimate users. Regular system maintenance, patch management, and capacity planning further contribute to ensuring that critical services remain operational under a variety of conditions. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability together form the benchmark by which all security controls are measured. When evaluating the effectiveness of any security control, professionals ask whether it contributes to preserving one or more elements of the CIA Triad. For instance, a firewall is primarily designed to maintain confidentiality by blocking unauthorized access, while an uninterrupted power supply supports availability by preventing downtime during power failures. Access control mechanisms and audit logs can serve both confidentiality and integrity objectives, depending on how they are implemented. Implementing the CIA Triad is not a single event, but a continuous process that requires ongoing attention and adaptation. The threat landscape is constantly evolving, and attackers are always seeking new ways to compromise these foundational principles. Cybercriminals, for example, deliberately aim to undermine the CIA Triad through what is sometimes referred to as the DAD Triad, which stands for disclosure, alteration, and denial. Disclosure occurs when attackers gain unauthorized access to confidential data, leading to privacy breaches or intellectual property theft. Alteration involves tampering with or corrupting data, undermining its integrity and potentially causing financial loss, reputational damage, or operational failures. Denial refers to actions that disrupt the availability of systems and data, such as ransomware attacks or denial of service campaigns, which can bring business operations to a halt. To illustrate the real-world impact of the CIA Triad, consider a scenario involving a large financial institution. If attackers succeed in breaching the confidentiality of customer account information, the organization faces legal liabilities, regulatory scrutiny, and a loss of customer trust. If the integrity of transaction records is compromised, customers may dispute charges or experience financial loss, eroding confidence in the institution's reliability. If the availability of online banking services is disrupted by a denial of service attack, customers are unable to perform critical financial activities, resulting in frustration and reputational harm. Each element of the CIA Triad is therefore equally vital, and a weakness in any one area can have far-reaching consequences for the organization and its stakeholders. To address these risks, organizations implement a layered approach to security, often referred to as defense in depth. This approach involves deploying a combination of technical, administrative, and physical controls, each supporting one or more aspects of the CIA Triad. Technical controls include firewalls, intrusion detection and prevention systems, encryption solutions, anti-malware software, and secure configuration management. Administrative controls consist of security policies, staff training, background checks, incident response planning, and regular audits. Physical controls protect the actual hardware and infrastructure using measures such as security guards, biometric scanners, surveillance systems, and secure access points. By integrating these controls, organizations can detect, prevent, and respond to a diverse range of threats targeting confidentiality, integrity, and availability. In addition to the three pillars of the CIA Triad, two supplementary principles enhance the overall security objective: authenticity and non-repudiation. Authenticity ensures that users, devices, or systems are genuinely who or what they claim to be. This is crucial for preventing impersonation attacks and establishing trust between entities. Authenticity is maintained through authentication mechanisms such as biometrics, cryptographic certificates, or hardware-based authentication tokens. For example, a virtual private network, or VPN, may require users to present a smart card or fingerprint scan before granting access to sensitive corporate resources. Non-repudiation guarantees that individuals cannot deny their actions within a system. This is particularly important for legal accountability, auditability, and dispute resolution. Organizations achieve non-repudiation through cryptographic signatures, comprehensive audit logs, or multi-factor transaction approvals. A practical example is an online banking transaction that requires a one-time password, often referred to as an OTP, before completion. The use of a one-time password combined with a secure audit trail ensures that the user cannot later deny authorizing the transaction. Non-repudiation is vital for forensic investigations and helps establish a clear chain of custody for digital evidence. The professional relevance of the CIA Triad is profound. Security architects, risk managers, compliance officers, and information technology administrators all rely on this framework when designing systems, conducting risk assessments, and responding to incidents. Regulatory frameworks such as the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA, and the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, or PCI DSS, all reference or align with the principles of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. A strong grasp of the CIA Triad is thus essential for passing security certifications, meeting compliance requirements, and protecting organizational assets in a rapidly changing threat environment. Despite the effectiveness of the CIA Triad, implementing its principles does present challenges. Maintaining confidentiality can be difficult in environments with a large and diverse user base, where access needs change frequently. Striking the right balance between data accessibility and strict access controls requires careful planning and regular review. Ensuring integrity can be complicated by the presence of legacy systems, inadequate logging, or the sheer volume of data handled by modern organizations. Guaranteeing availability can be expensive, especially when building redundancy into mission-critical systems. Moreover, attackers often exploit human factors, such as social engineering, making ongoing security awareness training essential for all staff. To overcome these challenges, organizations must adopt a proactive and adaptive security strategy. This involves conducting regular risk assessments to identify vulnerabilities, implementing layered controls to address multiple threat vectors, and fostering a culture of security awareness throughout the organization. Security teams should continuously monitor their environments for signs of compromise, test their incident response plans, and stay informed about emerging threats and best practices. By doing so, they can uphold the principles of the CIA Triad and ensure that their information systems remain secure, reliable, and trustworthy. To conclude our discussion, the CIA Triad, comprising confidentiality, integrity, and availability, forms the foundation of the security objective for all organizations. Implementing these principles protects information from unauthorized access, modification, and disruption, while fostering trust with customers, partners, and regulators. Supplementary principles such as authenticity and non-repudiation further enhance security by ensuring accountability and preventing impersonation. The Triad is not merely an academic concept, but a practical and indispensable tool guiding the actions of security professionals in every industry. By understanding and applying the CIA Triad, security professionals are better equipped to assess risks, design effective controls, and build resilient systems that can withstand the evolving threats.